Thank you so much, guys. I just want to kick off with a slide I found while preparing for this session. It's a slide we used about 4 or 5 years ago at the period we onboarded Krux, late 2011. And the slide we used really was the starting point of us ramping up our investments in data. And in 2012, we started our first data science team. And this slide, where we kind of hoped we could convince people that data science was the sexiest job at Sanoma, we kind of tried to, since then, make significant investments in content, in technology, and in really smart people. I have to admit, though, that the people we hired don't quite resemble the picture, but we did our best. Today, oh, that's a slide that shouldn't be there. Today, I want to talk to you about some thoughts we have and our execution of our data strategy. And I'm starting with the last slide, the executive summary. So today, I'll go through these 4 points with you. I'll show you how we invest to get logged-in users, because we're really moving away from cookie data to deterministic data to logged-in data, because we feel that logged-in users are really the foundation of every decent digital strategy nowadays. Transparency is one of our most important assets, where we are really open to the market, where we explain how we make up our business rules, where we get our data from, and how we govern our privacy. And I think I really want to emphasize is, don't be scared, share your data. The outside world isn't as evil as you might think. And I think I want to emphasize as well is that we should do a better job in using data to boost creativity. So those are the 4 things I want to go through. A small background, Paul said some things about our business. We're a European media company. We're also active in the learning industry. And actually, the learning industry does some cool stuff with data as well. They do like adaptive learning modules that adapt their content based on your consumption of whatever is in your learning iPad, etc. But today, I'm focusing on our Dutch media business. And I run the advertising part there. And our Dutch media business consists of TV, magazines, and a lot of digital assets as well. And we're a fairly traditional portfolio business. We have tons of magazine brands, digital brands, and a few of them I've plotted in this overview of our core domains. And we've made some significant choices over the past few years, and we stopped or sold activities that didn't fit our core strategy, which basically is focusing on cross-media brands. So brands that can follow the consumer throughout the day through different channels, both digital and offline. So cross-media is really our differentiator. If you look at our landscape, this is the Dutch market. We're not the biggest. We're number 3, next to Google and the persgroep. But cross-media is our differentiator. We're not the biggest in just TV or just print or just digital. But the reason why we've been growing top-line revenue and growing margins over the last few years opposite our competitors is basically because we found a good way to tie all the channels together. So we've been really focusing on cross-media. And I'll show an example of how we do that with a brand in a second. But I want to stand still a bit at the importance of data. And the 2 graphs on the right, I kind of tried to make a graph that shows, if you look at it from a business side, how important data is for us. If you increase complexity and increase the business value, what it means for us is that you really go from a reactive approach, that you look back, to a proactive approach, that you try to predict what's happening, that you try to prescribe what will happen, and get a bit more in the driver's seat. For our advertisers, it's a bit more straightforward even. Identifying users is key. Going from unidentified to making sure you can sell the demos, the interest data you have, and intent data you get. For instance, in our we have the #2 search engine and a lot of comparison websites where we can build these profiles of. How we try to identify users, I'll show you in the next slide.
Mit seiner Technik, Draxler, Tor! Ein Traumtor, ja! Ahí va de nuevo el Atlético. El remate. ¡Gol! Gol de Ramos. This is the stuff of legend.
If you're not Facebook or if you're not Google, it's kind of difficult to get people to log in. But what we found out is that sports, in this case soccer, is a really good way to force people to log in. What we do is we try to create a cross-device experience for our consumers, where, for instance, during halftime breaks, we have additional content in our mobile apps and in our websites. Obviously only available if you log in. And a lot of people are willing to log in for this type of premium content. We also experiment nowadays with addressable TV, for instance, where we provide additional content for OTT devices. For instance, rosters or results of other matches. So if you have those identified users, I think I heard yesterday, we're all half marketer, half publisher. But if I take a look at the B2B side of our business, it's pretty straightforward what we do with identified users. It's helping our advertisers do better targeting, improve their return on advertising spend. On the B2C side, however, I heard Meredith say yesterday that they're already doing a great job at the B2C part as well, leveraging Krux data. We're just starting that since about a year and a half maybe. But what we see already is that we can really upgrade the user engagement, cross and upsell. And the problem we run into now is that we simply don't have enough products to upsell and cross-sell. So that's one of the reasons we also got into e-commerce, basically to have more products. Because if you make the targeting so granular, and you only have a portfolio of 100 brands, that's even not enough. So to monetize data, it's the thing I mentioned earlier. We kind of pivoted our approach about a year or two ago, where we were kind of building a high wall, a walled garden around our assets, our data. We opened up. And so nowadays, we don't talk about walled gardens anymore, we talk about privacy gardens. We share our data with our advertisers to help them win. What we use to make sure the governance is in place, we use tools like Krux Link or Data Sentry to make sure they don't do bad things with it. But for us, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, it was a real mind shift to open up everything we do with data. And how we productize it is pretty straightforward. We sell standard products in the categories of demographics, interest and buying intent, and the #1, the best-selling products in the category custom. And in custom, you have to think about lookalike audiences or audience discovery, real-time segments that have to be available within an hour. And when we started this data business, we kind of ramped it up through a managed service. We started a team called Performance Partnerships, where we sort of competed with media agencies even in optimizing campaigns for our advertisers and really showing what the true value is of this data. And since about a year, we also decoupled data from media. So as Mike said, I also believe that you can unlock the true value of data by uncoupling it from media. And the execution, at least in our market, 100% programmatic. I think over the time we sold one directly sold campaign. This is a slide I'm kind of bummed out about because I heard Trevor say yesterday that he had a 24x ROI. I only got 6, so that's fairly good, I guess, maybe given the size of our market. But we see an average uplift in our CPMs of 36%. And what you see in the graph, I think the middle part is the most important part. You can see in our market the publisher data revenue really picking up. And that's data until 2015. And year to date, we already see a 60% growth versus last year. So I think this year is really the tipping point in our market for everything that has to do with data. Just a small thought on programmatic, because it's our main execution layer. We started programmatic in 2007, 2008, as really a remnant inventory channel, getting low CPMs. And over the last few years, it really moved into the main execution layer of all media. I think about 55% of our revenue, of our digital revenue, comes from programmatic. But where we are now, I think, at least I hoped we were already there, but what should happen now is that we should focus a bit less on the plumbing and on the data at hand and focus a bit more on boosting creativity, because I think we're doing actually a poor job as an industry. I think the example we saw from Conagra yesterday was a good example, and I know there are a few agencies like AKQ&A who are doing a good job, but the industry as a whole have been focusing too much on the plumbing instead of the creative part. So our next steps, and after that I'll be wrapping up. I'll start with the picture. If you look, I'm not sure if it's good to read in the back, but the picture shows, as a media house, what kind of data you can have from TV, from digital, from all kinds of device IDs. The problem now is, though, it's all fragmented. We can tie some stuff together by making people log in, by dropping cookies in newsletters on different devices. But for us, the end goal is to really consolidate all these data flows on one single user ID. And before that, we kind of grown scale over the last couple of years, and we're leveraging our sales power now and our technology we have to sell other people's data as well. And we also experiment. We have run a lot of tests in the addressable TV area, and we will run some more tests this year on the linear channel as well. So to sum up, 1 minute left. Data is our new game changer. I think that's clear. I hope I have shown that what kind of investments we make to get from cookie-based data to deterministic data and to getting people to log in. I also hope I emphasized a bit that transparency is really important and that you shouldn't be scared of sharing your data as long as you have the infrastructure in place to have the governance in order. And last but not least, be more creative. Thanks.